Let's talk about your hometown or village. Where do you live? I live in Seoul, which is the capital city of South Korea, and I grew up in Seoul, so it is my hometown as well. I mean, I've been living there all my life. What kind of place is it? Well, Seoul is a big city which has everything from modern art galleries, great shopping places, famous restaurants, as well as huge city parks where you can enjoy a picnic. What's the most interesting part of your town? There are plenty of interesting places and things to do in Seoul, but if I have to choose one, then I would say that it has lots of cool cafes and famous restaurants that are totally worth checking out. Would you say it's a good place to live? Why? Oh, yes, definitely. It's a great place to live since it has everything I need and lots of things to do. It gets quite crowded, especially on weekends, but I love the hustle and bustle of this big city. What sports do you like? These days, I'm really into cycling. Well, I try to commute by bike during the week, and on weekends, I enjoy bike riding in the park. Well, it's great for both physical and mental health. So since I started riding a bike regularly, I've been feeling much more energetic and less stressed. Where did you learn how to do it? Well, I've learned how to ride bicycle when I was very little. Now, I got my first bicycle as a birthday gift from my parents, and my dad taught me how to ride. Well, at the time, I went everywhere with my cute little bike. Did you do some sports when you're young? Well, I enjoyed riding a bicycle when I was young as well. My family was very keen on riding a bicycle as well, so we often went to the park, rode bicycles together. It was absolutely my favorite thing to do. I mean, yeah, we had a blast. Do you know any people who are good at sports? Yes, one of my friends, Leah, she is really into cycling and she's great at it. I mean, she's like a semi-expert or something. She knows almost everything about cycling skills, bike equipment, and bike routes, and so on. So I sometimes go bike riding with her, which is always so much fun. How important are friends to you? Friends mean a lot to me. My best friends are always there for me, and we help each other whenever any of us are going through some tough times, you know. I believe the value of a good friendship is priceless and immeasurable. Do you often go out with your friends? Well, not very often. I guess once or twice a month. Well, I used to hang out with my friends quite often, like more than twice a week. But nowadays, I'm so busy like 24/7. So it's almost impossible to hang out with them that often. Where do you often meet each other? Well, it's always different, but I guess we usually hang out in downtown. We have our go-to cafes and restaurants in downtown. One of our favorite cafes, called Rain, is kind of hidden in an alley. So although the area is quite crowded and busy, the place itself is fairly quiet and has a peaceful vibe, which I really like. So yeah, I think we meet up there often these days. What do you usually do with your friends? Well, nothing special. We check out some cool cafes, good restaurants, and sometimes we go shopping together. Oh, and we went to the park last time we met. We took a walk in the park, which has beautiful views of nature, well-managed walking trails through the trees and all kinds of flowers. So yeah, we had such a good time there. Do you have a friend you have known for a long time? Yes, my best friend is from high school, so we've been known each other for ages. She's so warm-hearted and considerate, and she has a great sense of humor. So we share almost everything, and she's like my sister. Describe an occasion when you lost your way? Okay, let me tell you about the time my family and I got completely lost while traveling in Bali. When I was young, I traveled abroad for the first time on a family vacation to Bali. So, on the first day of Bali, we rented a car and we were supposed to go to the temple, which was one of the most popular tourist spots in Bali. But on the way, there were hardly any signs, so we ended up getting lost. So we talked about what we should do for a while and decided to just go with the flow. Then my dad began driving without any particular destination in mind. And we came across a stunning beach, so we stopped and spent some time there. Well, I forgot the name of the beach, but I remember how picturesque it was, with the emerald water, golden sand, and impressive surfers riding the waves. It was unreal. I mean, we felt like we were in some kind of heaven. So actually getting lost was a blessing in disguise. Nowadays there are good navigation apps or direction apps, so I rarely get lost. I mean, I rely on the app so much that I can't drive anywhere without it. So when I received this cue card question, the first thing that came to mind was this old memory when I got lost in Bali because, there weren't any proper navigation apps. How can people find their way when they're lost? Well, people check their phone to see a map or something. I mean, people nowadays don't get lost often as almost everyone has their phones, which have various navigation apps. But if they do, then maybe they would ask directions to some random people on the street. I think that's usually the first thing most people try in such situations. Do you think it's important to be able to read a map? Yes, I think it's necessary to know how to read a map. While direction apps are widely available today and provide detailed information about our current location and direction, it's still good to have basic map reading skills in case of emergencies. For instance, if you find yourself in the middle of a forest or in a situation where technology fails, this map reading skill can be crucial. Why do some people get lost more easily than others? Well, there can be several reasons, but in my personal view, the main reason is that they're just bad with direction. Well, actually, I can relate it to that as well. I mean, when I was younger, I often found myself getting lost. I rode my cute little bike around and got lost almost every day. But in those situations, I would just ask people nearby for directions. So I think some people may naturally struggle with directions. How do people react when they get lost? Well, as I mentioned earlier, people often rely on their phones to access maps and directions. Well, there are numerous navigation apps available that provide detailed guidance. But if the technology is not available, well, they may ask directions to some people nearby.